This is the cheapest way to learn art today, and by the end of this video, there should be nothing stopping you from actually learning how to be an amazing artist. This is the format I've followed for over 2001 days since I started taking art seriously in 2019 till now. When I started this journey years ago, it was the most mentally and physically draining thing. Heck, I almost gave up, and in the end, I perfected my art growth process, and I will show you all the basics you need and everything I used and learned from free resources, including some core fundamentals, the best growth mindset to grow as an artist, my secret app I use to help me practice and draw every single day, and whether you have to draw a naked woman as an artist. But first, you need to know there are 3 core fundamentals every pro artist you admire is fucking good at, and drawbox.com breaks them down perfectly, which you can learn by literally picking up a pencil and a paper. First, being able to draw lines and marks you intend to make, aka mark making, literally looking at an object and being able to comprehend the basic shapes that make up that object, aka observation. And the toughest but everyone's favorite, it's basically the realization within your mind that everything you draw on a flat surface, the images you're creating represent a 3-dimensional world, and the page acts as merely a window into that world. And these basics are what makes up everything in art, from anatomy and figure drawing, perspective, form, light and shadow, color, composition, and even brushwork. These are your fundies. No, not those guys. We'll talk about anatomy and figure drawing, which every artist spends years trying to master. It's the toughest, that's why it's up first, and believe it or not, it's the easiest one to study, which all you need is a person. If you don't have one, you can borrow one like your ancestors borrowed from Africa. And I have pages upon pages of me studying anatomy, and it's as easy as trying to break down complex human form into individual bones and muscle groups. But not gonna lie, studying every single muscle and bone is boring as hell, and you really don't need to know the levator labii superioris aqui nasalis. The muscle and muscle groups I find most important are these. Don't worry, I'll link them and all the images and PDFs in the description. And then figure drawing, which is basically being able to capture the figure with CSI, aka CS and I lines. Artists who are able to capture an object's shape or figure with just these 3 are able to make bland shits look aesthetically pleasing. Perspective, every single artist up, even the OGs struggle with this shit, and to be able to capture a 3D space on a 2D surface, you need to be able to master it. But it's not just about 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, fish points perspective. It's about knowing shapes of the same size stacked in front of each other can be bigger or smaller depending on the distance between them. And also the camera, aka you, knowing this and implementing it is literally the difference between you and this. When we talk about form, it is the overall shape and structure of a piece, encompassing both its physical shape and the way that shape is presented. Talking about light and shadow is pretty intuitive. It's used to convey depth and form. Color is pretty similar, but you see composition and brushwork is a whole different ball game, and we'll talk about that later. Resources. We've got 2 options: sail the high seas or follow the legal route. For someone who has sailed the high seas, I must say it involves a lot of risk. In 2019, my PC was bricked by a ransomware, and these niggas were asking me for $1,000 through Bitcoin just to decrypt my files. 1, my brokers couldn't afford it, and 2, ain't no way I'm paying these hackers. Not gonna lie, it was mostly the first, and for people like me who are broke as fuck and can't afford to pay for art courses on Patreon and Gumroad, it's kind of understandable when you know, I'm not advocating for it, but it's understandable nonetheless. If you want to know my favorite sites and groups, you might want to join my Discord. And now I try to support creators every time I can, cause it takes time and efforts to make shit like that, and a couple bucks for a shit ton of knowledge from professionals is hella worth it in my opinion. And now for the risk-free cheap method, Mr. Crab's favorite. Also my favorite is a combination of these sites because they all have their individual strengths and weaknesses. First, a crowd favorite, drawbox.com. And if you're new to art or have no idea what to even do, head straight to drawbox.com. The lessons are easy, literally the easiest shit I've seen, and they even explain it really well so your baby brain understands it perfectly. It's made up of lessons, which I know you hit this one, makes you draw boxes upon boxes upon boxes, and a bit of organic forms, a couple dissections, intersections, and my favorite contour line. It has a lot more, and they also have challenges and drills like the 250 box and cylinder challenge, which you'll hate drawing boxes the moment you complete, but you would gain a shit ton of art XP to level up a wee bit. They also have lessons on plants, insects, yeah, spiders too, animals, cars, and everyday objects. And if you want to go from baby artist to not baby artist, this is the perfect place to start, and it costs you absolutely nothing. But if you think that's crazy, you definitely haven't tried Control Paint, which makes videos that are 5-minute long with only the good stuff and no fluff or disorganization. We start with the free video library, which contains a shit ton. By a shit ton, I mean a shit ton. In fact, they had to make a video about how to use your free library. To use your site, I would recommend you start from these steps: digital painting 101, custom brushes, then workflow demos. Wait, before you click away, they also have a section for traditional artists too, with videos that explain line measuring, contour lines, negative spaces, and even construction. They also have a playlist on how to use references properly, which I would recommend for every single artist, how to make studies, trees, gesto sketching, and even color. Personal favorite, composition basic. Even got videos on painting with color as well. Control Paint has a more in-depth library, especially when it comes to digital art. And not gonna lie, there's so much, so just go check out the library and, you know, me later. And now for the OG, the greatest of all time, the OG of the OGs, the number one of the big three. No, not you, Drake. The red play button app. YouTube. Don't worry, I'm gonna put you on some game and link you up with my favorite artists. But first to my favorite art YouTubers with the best art videos. And you know I saved the best for last. 11. Monex is an amazing artist who draws mostly traditional and does these amazing breakdowns that you can apply to both traditional and digital art as well. 10. Lavan, who's my favorite anime realism artist who makes tutorials you can follow, and you can also apply the same techniques he uses in your art style. You should definitely check him out, especially if you suck at drawing hands. 9. Tyler Edlin, my second favorite art baldy after Ahmed Aldouri. He has uniquely helpful insights when it comes to learning how to draw because he's a teacher and has an insane amount of experience in the art industry. And if you want to work in a game studio or an art studio of sorts, definitely check out his content. And also everything he puts out is really good, so I recommend you just check them out. 8. Steven Zapata in Just One Word is amazing voiceovers. If you're ever drawing, just pick a random video and enjoy the art podcast. 7. Proco. If you want to learn anatomy, like actually learn anatomy as an artist, this is the one-stop shop for everything anatomy, figure drawing, even gesture drawing. He does really cool features where he has really good artists to come on his channel and show us their process and what they're thinking as they're drawing. 6. David Finch. Bro is like the Ronaldo of comic books, and his channel is perfect for learning anything comic book drawing adjacent, but he also makes videos on how to draw figures, which is the perfect place to start if you're a beginner artist. And 5. White Manga. My favorite mangaka, author of Apple Black. During lockdown, I literally downloaded all his videos so I can watch them when I don't have internet connection, and hands down, he's one of my all-time faves. I would recommend checking out his how to draw playlist, digital art tutorials and videos playlist, and this playlist as well. Plus, if you're like me and want to make a manga or comic book, check out this playlist. All links will be in the description as well. 4. Draw Like a Star is my #1 recommendation for beginner artists, and bro breaks everything down so your baby brain understands. Heck, he even has a video on how to draw
pussy.
And now for the big three, Mark Brunette, Makobuchi, and Cynics. Here are my honorable mentions with zero reasoning, no explanation. CBPO, Aaron Min, Scott Christian Sava, Modern Day James, Mikey Mega Mega, Pcat, Blue Biscuits, Dev Greco, and Ahmed Aldouri. But not gonna lie, all these recommendations are useless if you have the wrong mindset, and art is fun. If you want to get better, you have to take it seriously and draw when you don't want to or feel like it. And the mistake I see a lot of beginners make is drawing from imagination. It's so cool, but how the fuck do you draw something you don't know what all of it looks like? Another thing with you is you suck at drawing consistently, and not gonna lie, I still struggle to draw consistently, but I use this app on my phone which uses the same trick Snapchat and the green TikTok bird Duolingo used to keep you hooked. Streaks. The app is called Not Boring Habits, not sponsored by the way, but I've drawn almost every day since January, even though I've missed a couple here and there because of exams in school. But the point is I'm consistent, and you should definitely give it a shot and let me know what you think. This art thing can be very boring and very demanding. Take breaks, have fun, draw fun random shit from anime, for example, or a show you're currently watching, or your messed up room. Mix fun and boring, unless you've got the willpower of Goku. And yes, one of the best ways to learn anatomy is from nude figures, believe it or not, and I'd recommend checking out TrueRef on Twitter for free references. Yeah, I'm not going to call that shit expert. If you're ever stuck with no idea what to do next, you can always come back and rewatch this part of the video. I'll be making a video with a guide specifically on how to go from baby artist to intermediate to almost pro artist, so make sure to smash the subscribe button and drop a like if you want to see more videos like this. But before the video, here's a mini guide to help you along the way. If you're a beginner, I'd recommend you start with anatomy and figure drawing, plus a couple box studies from drawbox.com. I know I sound crazy, but trust your ad zaddy, okay? And then from figure drawing, you can then try a bit of gesture drawing, and you can move on to perspective. Once you've got a pretty good grasp on these, you can move on to be an intermediate artist. However, this phase means you have to know your strengths and weaknesses. For me, it's color and perspective with a teeny bit of composition, and we don't talk about Bruno. As for going pro,